Hi, Mr. Björn Strid.
Hello.
Hello,
How's it
thank
going?
you for joining us today. How are you doing?
Pretty good, and thanks for having me. This is very cool.
Great.
Mm.
I'd like to start talking about the Night Flight Orchestra new album
Mm.
entitled Aeromantics II. We
Yeah.
just released it on September 3rd. Is it possible to know what the audience's response has been?
Well, so far it's been incredible, really. The press is loving it, and I'm getting a lot of private messages from people every day now who are just blown away by the new album, and they say that it's even better than the first one. They didn't think that we were gonna top Aeromantic I, but some people are saying that we actually did. So it's really interesting times for sure, and we've been working really hard on this album during this weird time, and people are also saying it's a very uplifting album, and it's exactly what we need right now. So I could not be more thrilled. So it's very cool.
Great, great. I'm very glad to talk to you. The one of the greatest vocalists of this time.
Oh
It's a
man,
great time to talk to you.
thank you.
And Björn, what's the main difference can you point for us in relation to the previous album?
Yeah.
This
Uh,
album, Aeromantics II, previous the previous album, Aeromantics.
hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think we've been working even more maybe with the keyboards and creating sort of like a soundtrack feel to it, and even working even more in making our sound more cinematic in general, and we started this band because we wanted to create a soundtrack of being in motion, and I think we really succeeded with this album. When you listen to this album, it takes you somewhere else, and it's full of escapism. And I think that's sort of what we need right now in these weird times, and I think it just has a pretty unique sound to it. And I think we even have different music styles on the same album, and it still works. It still sounds like the Night Flight Orchestra. So I think we've more than ever created our own sort of trademark on our sound. It sounds very special.
Okay, great.
Mm.
And the songs Changes, White Jeans, and Burn for Me are singles of the new album. Why choose these songs?
It's always really tough, to pick singles, and we usually, also talk to the label, what they think, because we're so deep into it. We live and breathe this music for such a long time, and it's very intense. And you think exactly what the singles are, but within the band we think very differently when it comes to picking the singles. So this time we actually left it to the label to pick it, and I think they did a good job. So and people seem to really like the singles too.
Yeah, and there are great videos for the
Yeah.
songs. Yeah, what do you think about those videos?
Well, to begin with, I mean, you can definitely tell if you watch the videos. You can tell that we had so much fun recording them, and we wanted to create something very special, and I think that's what's so fun about this band, that there's really no limits to what you can do, and coming from the metal world, you sometimes feel a little bit, you feel that there's sort of limitations, but with this band, it's like if somebody say like, oh, let's record a video at the hairdresser, it's like, yes, of course we're gonna do that. So it's it's all over the place, and I think when you watch our videos, there's a sailing video, there's a video with drag queens and corgis, and there's what else is there, and then we're in a flight hangar as well with really cool airplanes and stuff. So it's so much fun. We're having so much fun recording these videos, and especially I think Burn for Me was a fantastic video to record. We got together, all of us, and it was looking pretty good for a while. We took the tests and everything, and the corona was not as strong as it is again, and this was, I think, in May. And we got together this, and we sort of wanted to picture how it would look when this is all over and people sort of go out in the streets and dance. you know, and like a celebration. So that's what we wanted to create with that video, and I think we really succeeded. We had so much fun, and we gotten so much response from people, like, you know, saying thank you for releasing that song and that video. That's exactly what I needed. It put a smile on my face, you know, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Quite interesting. And Björn, especially about the video for White Jeans, is it correct to say that there is a message of freedom, of respect, especially
Absolutely.
for the okay, especially to the community LGBT? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely say that it's a tribute, and I think it's tribute to people, you know, to you know, really be who they are and not to be afraid, and about its respect, you know. And I came up with the idea because I have this friend who's starting in the video. His name is Frederick Lexforce, and he's been doing a lot of musicals, a lot of theater, and also like films. He's also created sort of a funny character on television that, you know, became really popular through the Sweden's Got Talent, you know, the equivalent of whatever they have in America and I guess the world over. And so he's a good friend of mine, and I just pictured him being a drag queen in the video, and I wanted to be a tribute. I wanted to be fun, but also keep the balance, you know. It's not like we're making fun of anything. I think it's just a tribute to people, you know, to not be afraid to be to be themselves, you know. And so that's what we did, and I think it's a really beautiful story. Even though it's very funny, you can laugh, it's also a very beautiful story. It's this old man who's realizing, what have I done with my life? You know, I used to cross-dress, you know, I used to go out as a woman, you know, and he gave up, you know, because the times were not allowing him to do that, you know, and he feels like now's the time, you know. I'm not too old for this. I'm gonna go out in the streets and be proud. And you see the neighbors waving to him and looking all surprised, and he's just strutting in the streets. So it's a beautiful story, and we gotten a lot of good response for that one as well. You know, it's a great song and a very cool video, and it's actually my dog that's in the video as well. It's a corgi. I don't know if you know about the breed corgi. It's yeah, so it's that was a one take, so she did really well in the video as well.
Okay, great. It's a great message. For me, heavy metal and rock and roll, it's about respect and about freedom.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I like it. And about the cover art, it's very beautiful. In my opinion, the most beautiful of the discography. Does the band decide anything about the cover art?
Absolutely. It's actually my girlfriend who made the cover. So it's yeah, I guess I had to promote her as well. Her name is Georgia Carteri Artworks, and so she's done a terrific job, I think. And you know, I've been there the whole time when she's been working on it, and I had this idea to sort of continue on the path what we did with Aeromantics I, which showcases a lot of strong women in the airline you know, world or airline business, and there's a lot of pictures, you know, so I wanted to continue on that path, and it almost looks like it could be Amelia Earhart, you know, on the cover, but it's not. We found this picture, and I thought it was beautiful and very strong, and you see her sort of cape flying in the wind, and we wanted to put her in the desert as well. And yeah, I'm really happy about the result as well. I think she did really well, and people really seem to like it. So I'll let her know that you really like it and you think it's the best so far. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. And Björn, the band's lineup seems a big team of musicians. How was it bringing to the band Charlie D'Angelo from Merciful Fate and the drummer from Arch Enemy? And how it's for you to play with these musicians?
I mean, it's a great bunch of musicians, and you know, when it all started with me and David being on tour with Soilwork in I think it was 2007, and we decided to create a band that captures, you know, the late 70s and early 80s music, and also to create a soundtrack of being in motion and being on tour. And then we started thinking, like, who can we bring into this band? Who do we know that sort of likes this era and can master it, you know? And Charlie D'Angelo is a man with many surprises. He's a brilliant bass player. And you know, we see him play bass in Arch Enemy, and he's been playing with Merciful Fate, as you say, but he can also play a mean disco bass. So it's as we can hear, you know, he's a big ABBA fan as well, so you can hear the ghost of ABBA, you know, and you know, Rutger Gunnarsson, the bass player from ABBA, so you can definitely hear the influences, you know, and he's doing a fantastic job. So that was, you know, we knew he had something, and he liked this kind of music. And when we got together the first time, it was like mind blown. You know, it was fantastic. And you know, all the rest of the people, like Jonas, you know, it's a childhood friend of David's that I didn't know since before. He's like fantastic. You know, sort of. He has the Porcaro Toto chops as well on the drums, and then, you know, Sebastian coming into the band as well. He's our mixing guy. He's mixing all of our albums. He plays guitar. He plays percussion. He's a fantastic drummer as well. He's one of those people that it's just crazy. You know, whatever position in the band you put him, he can pull it off. You know, so it's a really great band. And then the airline Annas coming into the band as well, you know, at a later point. You know, they brought us even to a higher level in having like female backup vocals as well. It's something that you don't see very often in today's rock music, you know. Even, you know, Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue had backup girl singers back in the day, like late 80s or early 90s. So it's something that we wanted to bring a real rock show the way it was meant to be, you know. So after they joined as well, I think we have had the perfect lineup. And also John Lundmill joining the band already on the previous touring cycle for Aeromantics I, even though it was very short. He joined for real and was composing with the rest of us, you know, for this album, you know, that ended up being Aeromantics II. So it's a very solid lineup, and many people are quite surprised, you know, like that we come from the metal world, you know, and get together and do something like this. It could have failed miserably, but it turned into something very, very good, I think. And there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of passion, and I think we feel very liberated being in this band and doing something, you know, completely different.
And does someone take the band leadership?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Someone take the band leadership? Someone is the leader of the band?
Oh, nah. I mean, me and David started the band, so I mean, I guess we're the driving force behind it. But it's a very democratic band, and I mean, you know, it's the same. I'm one of the few original members in Soilwork as well, and by no means I'm not the typical leader, but I'm good at inspiring people, and I'm good at being the driving force, you know. And I think I want to be in a band that's you know, it's good with leadership, but it's also good with democracy within the band to a certain point, you know.
Okay, and the band makes nostalgic sound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And do you think that the present and the future of the world are so threatening that people are increasingly interested in the past, in a feeling of nostalgia?
Yeah, I think that has something to do with it. You know, people rather look back to a time where there were no troubles, which is never really true. You know, you always tend to romanticize certain things. You know, it's like, oh, it used to be so good, there was no problems, but it was just different, and you tend to forget about the bad things too, you know. But I understand, you know, I think that's definitely something that we're bringing with this band, you know, the nostalgia factor that people can sort of connect to their childhood, you know, growing up with this kind of music. But at the same time, people also expressed as like, wow, I didn't even know that I missed this kind of music, you know, and it sounds so old, but it sounds so refreshing. So it's like there's got to be something that feels new as well. So it's not a pure nostalgia act. And I think it's also, you know, we're carrying a legacy, a way of writing songs, a way of producing songs, a way of, you know, performing songs that has been lost, you know, for a long time. You know, it has a very organic sound without becoming boring, you know, and it's quite glittery and sort of shameless in that sense, you know. And I think that's what people really like. They like that it's very authentic and it's very sincere, you know, even though we have this whole tongue-in-cheek concept around it as well. We don't take ourselves too seriously, but we want to bring a real show and real songwriting, real songs, you know, that will stand the test of time.
Okay. And Björn, in the early 2000s, I remember Rob Halford telling everyone how much he loved his voice and your singing style. How do you feel being recognized as a great singer by the metal god?
Well, I mean, that's just simply amazing. I remember when I read that, because somebody told me, "Oh, have you seen that Rob Halford is talking about you in this Belgian metal magazine?" It's like, what? No, are you crazy? No, come on. It's like, and he managed to, I don't know, he picked it up somewhere, and then I got to read it, and I just lost it. I just, can I take the magazine with me home? And I was like, yeah. I just went straight home, and I like cried for 2 hours because it was so overwhelming and so amazing, because he was, you know, still is one of my absolute, you know, vocal heroes, you know, and yeah, it was just surreal, you know, to read that, you know. It's like, he's talking about my band, he's talking about my voice. This is just nuts, you know. So wow, yeah, absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
and he's still going strong too. That's very impressive.
Yeah, for me, in my opinion, Rob Halford is the singer of heavy metal. Yeah,
absolutely.
And talking about Soilwork, Björn, how your bandmates viewed your participation in the Nght Flight Orchestra?
Well, they don't mind it at all. I mean, they realized pretty quickly that this is something that both me and David really wanted to do, and that we maybe needed to do it, you know, in order to be able to do Soilwork. I think we needed to, I guess it was a little bit of, without sounding too pretentious, a little bit of a yin and yang situation, where we needed to feel a bit more sort of balanced musically. And now we both feel that we have the best of both worlds, you know, and the guys in Soilwork, they really dig what we do with the Night Flight Orchestra as well, you know, and they respect it very much. And we try to divide the touring cycles, you know, and the album cycles. We don't collide, and it's not always easy, but, you know, we try to make it work.
And Björn, about the next plans of the Night Flight Orchestra, are you thinking in keeping the theme of the air, the great airplane, stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, it's so much fun, and we can develop this concept. We can take it very far, I think. You know, if we had a stage that was big enough, we could bring a 747 on stage and make a nice entrance. I doubt that's going to happen, but, you know, there's so many things you can do about it, and you can create, you know, a great live show around this theme that we're having, this concept, you know. So it's definitely something that we are going to continue with. You know, people need to escape, you know, not only through the music, also when you sort of, you know, watch us live. I think, you know, it just enhances the whole thing.
And what's the importance of work with the Nuclear Blast Records for a pop band like the Night Flight Orchestra?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think they were really cool that they signed the band. I think it was a brave move, you know, because they're a metal label mostly, and I think we reached a lot of metal fans through the label, and we've also reached people outside the metal world as well. There's a lot of people coming to the shows who doesn't know what Soilwork or Arch Enemy is, you know, so that's pretty cool. And I think they've done a really, really good job, and I think a lot of metal fans got very curious to see, it's like, what is this, you know, what is this band that members from Arch Enemy and Soilwork are creating? It looks very different. Like, it must sound, if it was just like a metal project, I don't think people would have been that curious, but they saw that this is something completely different. So I think we gained a lot of fans that normally would not listen to this kind of music, you know. And those are pretty much the people who sometimes express that Nght Flight Orchestra is like a guilty pleasure band, you know, that they normally listen to. I only listen to black metal, but I can't deny this band is fantastic. It's like, it's my guilty pleasure. Okay, I give up, you know. So that's cool. Whatever works.
Yeah, that's cool. And what's the next plans for the Nght Flight Orchestra and for Soilwork?
Well, we have some tours lined up, but we don't know if it's going to happen this fall. So I think it's more realistic to, you know, that we will be able to tour in the beginning of next year or in the spring, you know. And we also have a Soilwork album that's almost finished, so there's that as well. We've been extremely creative during this 1.5 years. There hasn't been much else you could have done. So it's yeah, but I mean, we haven't missed that much with Soilwork since our touring cycle was done anyway. By the time that Corona hit, we missed a lot of stuff with the Nght Flight Orchestra. So hopefully we can, you know, make up for it next year, and hopefully we also can do a South American tour. That would have been absolutely amazing. And we're getting so much response from South America right now. I've been doing a lot of press, and
vamos ver aqui, parece que deu algum problema de conexão. Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Can you hear me? Can you see me? That's okay?
Yes.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, Björn, thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
And feel free to leave a message to the Brazilian fans.
Yes. Well, I was beginning to talk about like doing a tour in South America. Please spread the word about the Nght Flight Orchestra to your friends, and call your radio stations and make them play Nght Flight Orchestra. And we're going to work hard at putting a tour together. And we're looking forward to see you people dance and do a conga train with us. I've seen a lot of headbanging in mosh pits before, but now I would like to see you dance. So hopefully we could see you soon. So thanks for spreading the word.
Okay, once again, thank you so much for your time. And as soon as possible, I hope to see you in São Paulo with Soilwork, with the Nght Flight Orchestra. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.